ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Cropper here. Someone asked me for lesson plans. The reason that I'm operating this school day to day, I've just started. I have no experience as a teacher until a few months ago when I opened this school, except for my videos online, which I think I learned a lot from. But the reason that I'm running this school is to figure out exactly what the lesson plans need to be and so on. And I'm sort of swimming this first year, and I expected that, and I had thought about making some lesson plans before I opened the school. I thought about it, clear back in Connecticut, that I'd outline some lesson plans, but I was pretty sure it was going to be impossible, and I think it would have been a waste of time, because I didn't have any real-world evidence of how young kids would be able to absorb the material and how quickly and so on. So my lesson plan situation is evolving, and I'll publish that within 5 years, maybe within a year. That would be awesome. Within 5, that'd be ludicrous to be more than 5 years out before I have something published on my curriculum from my experiences. But I wanted to say a few things about how I do my daily lectures, because I do have to do 7 or 8 or 9 hours of history lectures a week, with science and a little bit of math, history, and then history proper, which we all recognize is the primary subject. It's the most important subject because all other subjects branch off of it. So we spend a lot of time on history, and sometimes the kids raise their hand, are we in science or are we in history right now? We're in the history of science right now, so it's science notes. In the history of Greece, in the 60 video series I've put up, it's not done yet, there's a little bit of information in those 60 videos which is too abstract for young kids. Not too graphic, no, too abstract for young kids. Like when you start talking to them about the Delian League and alliances between states and stuff, you've got to have something to go on there. You can't just come out and just mention the Delian League, because if you even mention it to them, it's total outer space. You can mention the Delian League to an adult who's never heard of it, and they'll just abstract some sort of alliance of states. But an alliance of states. States, what are states? What's an alliance? What's an alliance of states? You can't just mention things off the cuff to kids. So there are things that I just splash around through in the Greek series, and it's safe to do that with adults. The kids can't absorb the information nearly as well. So you've got to pick through it a little more carefully. There's a few things that are less interesting to the kids and not on the level that they need to be on. I would say 70% of those videos, in some form, I've given to the kids. Of the stuff in those videos, I've given to the kids. And I was very fortunate to have already gone through all these books about Greece and done detailed little notes and stuff on them and gotten ready for the videos and outlined exactly what I was saying here and there. And there are things that I crossed out in the book to do the video series, which I now am reading to the kids. There's a line through it because I wanted a permanent record of it and decided if I want a clean, clear book, I just buy another copy. And I'll always know the exact statements in my video, but there's a different set of information that comes out when I'm talking to the kids. I actually leave in paragraphs that I took out for you gentlemen out there, and ladies and gentlemen, and I take out paragraphs which I have left in for you. So it's all judging on their context and how much they're able to take with any given lesson. Sometimes they're able to absorb much more than I expect. In fact, we go for an hour and a half sometimes on history, and none of them are yawning. Maybe one of them's yawning. They're all still with me, awake, paying attention, answering my questions. So let me just mention a few of the books I use, and it goes very well. These are adult textbooks for college level courses, except for a few of them. I'll start with ones that are not college level. Greek History by Alice Zimmern. It's published in 1905 or so, I believe. And it's actually 1903. It's actually a British school book, and I just read from it. It's highly archaic, even for an adult today, even an educated adult today finds the English language, the British language from 100 years ago, a bit weird. So the kids would flip out if they had to read this. I read it. Actually, I read it like the night before, or during recess I glance over a section and mark down a few things, and then I just go glance at it quickly during the lecture, and then I expound on it for a minute. The Ancient Engineers by Sprague L. de Camp, A History of the Ancient World, Chester G. Starr, Hellenic History by Botsford and Robinson, 1922, 39, and 50. This is the 3rd edition. History of Near East and Greece by Albert Trevor. Now, those are the history books, and there's actually about a half a dozen more. But that's just a sample of what I use literally for these kids who are 6 through 10. And I go through, it says something about the cavalry and how Mardonius was slaughtered, different things. And you just go through and read a paragraph or two and do it during recess and get a lecture ready. If you're already familiar with it, you have to have read some of the material. You got to read it over once. You cannot just take the book and go into class, because there will be sometimes you'll be like, wow, this is no good for pages. And you cannot read in front of the kids for 15, 20 minutes trying to figure out what to say. They'll all be like, what the heck is going on? You've got to have it ready, when you go in there, to glance at it. Some people think I just read the books when I do these cropumentary lectures on video. No, I actually have gone over the books painstakingly before I even turn the camera on. Anyways, continuing. That's the history section. Let's do in science. Here's just one book. There's others, but they're at the bottom of piles. The Major Achievements of Science. The Development of Science from Ancient Times to the Present by A. E. E. McKinsey. Now, the first chapter covers everything up to, and the second chapter covers Copernicus forward. Everything up to Copernicus. And Copernicus on forward is chapter 2, and that starts on page 16. So in 15 pages he treats all of ancient scientific achievements. That's a bit brief. There are better treatments, so this is just one of them. Another one is Dampier's History of Science, D-A-M-P-I-E-R. Then there's the History of Science in Western Civilization by Steffens and Williams, which is highly academic. But like I said, you have to go through it before you give the kids the lecture.